What's up, my dudes? I know it's been forever, but I got us another track review here on MX Simulator, and one thing I just recently learned is the fact that comfortability with a setup overrides everything, dude. And you guys will see it in this gameplay right here. Like, I was just feeling it, bro. I don't know any other way to explain that. It's just, there's so many different, like, types of setups in this game where it can sort of feel like it's easier to jump something, or it's like you've got more movement over the bike, so it feels good in that way. But if it's not comfortable, it doesn't matter anyways, because the comfortability is what makes it possible to go to that next level with your speed. You have to be 125% comfortable on the bike. You just have to be. I mean, look at this shit, dude. I'm like just going in a corner sideways through the roughness, and it's just like, what? There's no way I could have rode like this with the kind of setup I've been running all year long in 2017. There's just no way. It's like I went back to what I was really comfortable with back in the day, and I don't know, dude. There's just something about it. It's more comfortable to me. And I think a lot of it is kind of what you get used to at the very beginning. I think this is a really big tip to some of you guys out there, like especially your gearing and stuff like that. Whatever you get really used to as far as how fast you started shifting when you first started playing the game and stuff like that, I think that all makes a drastic difference depending on what kind of gearing you need to run later on down the line. Because when you learn the game, it's almost like a kid learning how to, you know, talk and do math and all that stuff. Like, they learn it a certain way, and I think it's the same way with MX Simulator. You just kind of learn these sort of habits. And so, for instance, it's really hard to get on here and learn how to shift with one gearing for a year or two when you first learn the game, and then try to go to a different gearing later on. Even though it may seem better at first, if it's not as comfortable, it may not actually be that much better. So anyways, that was just a little tip for you guys. But yeah, this track right here is actually one of the more fun ones I've rode on as far as the 2017 GP tracks. The GPs, man, they just, in this game anyways, they always have the ability to make them feel like totally different. And I love the different styles of tracks you can get going in this game. And I'm working on a custom track right now, by the way. I know haven't made one of those in a while too. Man, I love doing that. It seems like I forget sometimes how much fun it is just to sit down and build some custom tracks. Like, that is Spencer Turley's heaven right there. If I can just hop on a track, put some tropical trees in the background, and let my mind go to work, that's like my favorite thing to do, man. I'm a builder. I've always been that way. Bob the Builder, dude. I've always been a creator. I've been that way since day one. I've been that way before I even knew what the word creator was, you know. I've always been like that. And so the custom track thing, it's just, I almost love doing that more than I do actually riding on the track. I know that sounds so stupid, but that's how much I love it, the actual building aspect of it. And something else that I learned, like right here, you seen how I came off that rut on that jump face and kind of like slid over in the air, and I just landed it like there was no problem. And that's what being comfortable on the bike allows you to do. It's like you can't crash. That's what it feels like when you have a super comfortable bike. Look at this. Oh my gosh, swapping side to side, and then I barely glance a tough block and it kicks me off. But let me play this back in some third person here. But yeah, as far as like custom tracks, one big thing that can change the look of a custom track is the ground decal. I would say that is like, man, you could have two of the exact same tracks built the exact same way, and one of them have a basic Play-Doh looking decal, and one of them have a super high resolution textured looking decal, and that higher, more realistic textured decal is going to feel 3 times better than that other decal, even though the tracks are built exactly the same. You see what I'm saying there? It's like, it makes such a drastic difference on the realism of it, and it almost makes the track feel different, even though it's not built any different. Just having a different decal can make it actually feel like it's built different, which I found that to be pretty incredible. But once you find a good decal like that that's got a real realism style look to it, it's pretty sick. You can definitely get a good feeling when you start building jump faces and stuff like that. But yeah, with this track, I mean, you can see all the ruts going into ruts coming out of ruts, quite a few merging ruts on this track, and a couple of jump faces have ruts going up the jump faces, but it's not like a super rutty track. I definitely wouldn't call it, but some more crossing ruts right here. And it's got some standard style roughness. I like the roughness on this track right here. It's kind of small and choppy, so you can go basically as fast as you want to go on it. So I've always been quite the fan of that. It's not like such big roughness that you got to really slow down, but it's still a lot of fun. And then just some of the jump faces have the ruts on them. Definitely not all of them, but and then there's some of the jumps where you really got to time them out. It almost feels like you're on a supercross track, even though it's like tabletops, because some of the tabletop landings, they're just like, they have a very small kind of perfect landing zone. So even though you can still overjump it or underjump it and survive, to be the fastest way on it is to land it down perfectly, and it's actually pretty hard to do that on a couple of these tabletops, even though they're just basic tabletops. So I thought that was actually pretty fun about this track, the fact that even though it's just a standard motocross track, you still have to time the jumps out quite a bit on it. So this sweeping corner right here, three different options in the corners. And as far as all the off-track stuff, just standard good GP, all the awesome off-track GP stuff, makes it feel real. A ton of objects, got all the people in the background, so definitely nothing basic as far as that goes, but this is more of the basic standard woodland style real-life track here, so this is about as good as you can amp up a woodland track in this game. But you can see some of the different inside lines you can take, and yeah, man, this track right here, it's got just enough of a like flow to it where it almost feels like you never have to let off. I mean, you do in some little sections, but there's some corners where you can just drift all the way around the corner, and I love tracks like that. And like the way these ruts are, even though there's roughness through them, they're not super small, like crooked, tight ruts. They just have a nice berm flow to them. You can see it right here, how it just kind of flows out with the corner, so it really allows you to just hold the gas on, bro. You really don't have to worry about letting off too much. But yeah, getting a little gnarly right here. A couple sections where the ruts get right beside the tough block, so you really got to angle the bike perfectly. There's one right there like I showed you, and then this one up here is kind of the same way. You just got to angle the bike just perfectly, or you'll hit a tough block like that right there, and that's kind of what happens. But let me actually go in this other view and kind of run around the track a little bit. But you can see all this off-track stuff. I mean, there are some more basic looking areas kind of like this right here, but who is ever really going to see that? Pretty much nobody. So all you're really seeing is what's right beside the track anyway, so a lot of times that's all that really matters. So it does the job for a replica style track for sure. This jump right here is a ton of fun. Let me back this up a little bit. So you launch it. You can launch this however far you want to launch it, dude. Like, you can jump one of the rollers, two of the rollers, three of the rollers, five of the rollers. You can jump however many rollers you want to right here. Check this out. Just fucking sky it out, man. Oh my gosh. It's like, I'm really glad that they didn't make that first jump where it launched you too high and then you couldn't jump it very far, or you would just flat land and pop off of the bike. I'm actually really glad they kept that mellow enough to where you could just get like more distance than you did height on it. So I was happy about that. But there's a couple of cool lines. Like, let me try to show you. You can come off of, this thing's kind of hard to control here with the controller, but you can come off of this jump, this little like roller bump thing or whatever this is, and almost jump all the way into the rut corner. You see what I did right there? You can jump all the way, skip all this roughness, and then land right here. So there's a couple of kind of secret lines that you'll find whenever you start going really, really fast on this track. You're like, whoa, I did not expect to be able to ever hit that. And then all of a sudden you're just able to hit it because you kind of amped up your speed to another level. So there are a couple of places like that. It's not super basic in that sense where it's like even the best of the best couldn't hit something bigger or better. Like there are definitely bigger and faster line options as far as not just jumps, but the roughness and being able to jump through the roughness in certain ways, and you can definitely get some special lines going like that. But oh my gosh, look at that. I just like rolled all the way through that corner. But as far as the traction, it's just pretty standard, pretty normal. I wouldn't call it like a weird traction or anything like that. So yeah, fairly fun track right here. Got some of the ruts up the faces, but as far as like on most of the straight parts of the track, you're not really dealing with a ton of ruts. And then the corners, they're more kind of berm style ruts than they are like really small ruts. So but this is one of those jumps right there where you really got to land. There's like a super small landing. You see, you launch it all the way, and then just that little small landing spot right there. You could jump it probably all the way over and land in some of this roughness right here. The track has a really good way of like making it to where there's multiple landing options, even though it may not be the actual tabletop landing. It might be landing in some roughness or something like that, but there are a couple of jump lines like that where you can kind of jump further than you might expect. Like right here, you could huck this. You see how I almost hucked it all the way to right there, which is not even really the landing. So there's a couple places like that where you can kind of find some trick lines and stuff. But yeah, overall, man, it's always so difficult to rate these replica tracks. Because, I mean, as far as a replica track, I'm sure it's probably right on line with some of the best of them out there. I mean, it really is. But as far as just sheer like fun scale, it's pretty good. I'd call this a pretty good style track, and different line options and stuff like that. I'm going to give it an 8 overall, and I'm going to say the difficulty is medium. So I want to let you guys know that I have all of my different playlists on my front page, whether it be game-specific playlist or series-specific playlist. So if you're looking for any particular game or particular series that you want to watch, I have it all laid out there in a pretty organized manner on my front page. There is a link in the description to donate to me if you want to support me, and if you can't or you just don't want to, I totally understand. That's why it's completely optional, but I will be listing my top 10 donators at the end of every single future video, and I will shout out every new donator at the end of a video, even if they're not top 10. And my email address is spencerturley@live.com, no space, no capital, and I do accept sponsorship offers. And you guys should also follow me on Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, Steam, all that different stuff at Spencer Turley, no space, no capital. So anyways, I appreciate you guys watching the videos. Later, dudes.